Let's do a test against the Simplex 11-inch coil and Anfibio 9-inch concentric coil in the test garden here. And with the Anfibio, if you look at the screen here, see how all these inactive displays here are on or are there before I even turn the metal detector on. And with an update for the Anfibio, what's going to change for the Anfibio? You know, the updates should enhance the performance of the machine, but the screen can't be changed, right? That's a whole hardware update. You would have to change that whole screen to change anything on the menus, right? And with the Anfibio, you know, they say that it's an updatable machine. It's been out for almost four years. There hasn't been an update for it, and I'm hoping for an update. You know, I'll use the Anfibio maybe a little bit if they get an update for it, but I highly doubt it. You know, they've already come out with another machine with the Simplex, and it's had 5 updates already, and they've changed. You know, they've given you extra modes, they've given you extra bars of gain. They've given you a mineralization bar, they've given you a mute button, extra stability, you know, and they can change the Simplex screen because it's blank, right? With the Anfibio, you know, there's not much they can do to the machine with the menus. There's actually nothing they can do with the menus. They might be able to do a little bit with the menus, but they won't be able to change that front menu, you know, that inactive menu on the LCD screen there. But I'm hoping for an update for the Anfibio. You know, what they could do is get rid of the overload tone. The overload response on the Anfibio disables the whole machine. You get no numbers, no depth meter, no tones. You just get an overload response. And the Anfibio is, you know, prone to overloading on coins on the surface, foil on the surface. And I don't want to skip up those coins, you know, so I just dig them out, you know. But pinpointing those targets is tough because you're getting overload response, and it gives you an overload, you know. So, you know, it could be falsing on big iron, it could be falsing on a piece of foil on the surface, it could be falsing on a piece of brass on the surface. You know, you want to have your machine dialed in. And with the Anfibio, you know, I have super hot soil here, and in the wintertime, even in the summertime, you know, I don't run the Anfibio too hot, or I didn't run the Anfibio too hot when I was using it a lot, because the surface targets, you know, are going to overload on you, and it could be big iron, you know. So it's just harder to pinpoint those targets. But what they can do is just get rid of that overload tone, overload response, and that would improve the performance of this machine. That's what an update is supposed to be. A firmware update is supposed to enhance the performance of your machine. But the update is probably not going to have any menu changes, most likely not. They could separate the gain and the recovery speed on this machine, you know, to make it a little bit better. They can maybe use like the ISAT. They could take the ISAT and actually just have the recovery speed instead of the recovery speed and the gain all tied together. It's kind of funky, you know. They have their segments of the gain that give you higher recovery speed and then more depth, and it's just hard to dial in relic dumps, because in relic dumps I want to be low gain, high recovery speed, right? Because there's a lot of iron. But you can't really do that with the Anfibio. You just have to kind of dial it in a little bit, you know. Just you adjust your gain, and you adjust your other, you know, the ISAT a little bit, and adjust your frequency or your frequencies to make up for that shortcoming of the recovery speed and the gain all tied in one setting. So they can separate those two somehow, you know. They can figure it out. But updates take a lot of work, and you know, it's been out for 4 years, like I said, and there hasn't been an update. You know, they've had plenty of time to give us an update, you know. And now they're coming out with another machine, you know, simultaneous multi-frequency machine in the Simplex housing. So I don't really see an update coming for the Anfibio. I don't have too much high hope for it. So let's test it out. This coil performs very well in my test gardens, because I have a couple of them. This coil right here is awesome, man. The Anfibio is more of a relic machine, right? The Simplex is more of a general use machine, like a coin shooting machine. The Anfibio can get through that tall grass. The Anfibio, you can smack a bunch of logs or branches out of the way. With the Simplex, you can do that, but it'll wear out fast. The Anfibio is it's a very stout machine. It's a heavy machine. So you can get closer to the ground in that tall grass. You can push the machine down a lot better than the Simplex. The Simplex is a lot lighter machine, so it just wants to lift up in the tall grass or the stubble. But I'll go over 3-tone. 3-tone is the only program that I can use in my hot soil here. 4-tone, 5-tone, 99-tone, deep mode, deep tones, or deep program just doesn't perform in my soil here, right? Because I have hot soil. And I'll just ground balance it here. Try to find a spot to ground balance here out of the iron. There we go, 69, it's acceptable. Here's a 5-inch deep clad nickel right here. Don't get me wrong with this video, I really like the Anfibio. It's just I have other machines that I'm testing and field testing right now. The Equinox, the Deus, the Simplex. 89 gain, so I'll go to 90 gain and watch the difference. Get a lot of clicks and pops. It's just running too unstable right now, right? Now I'll drop the gain down to like 70 in 3-tone. Still hitting it good, right? But it's slower recovery speed now. See, it's struggling on that spot right there. So it takes a lot to learn how to dial the machine in, right, to your site. It takes a while, a few minutes to dial it in, because the conditions change throughout the year. You know, you can look at my soil right here. It's really dry. You can see all the cracks in the ground there, right? All the cracks in the ground. My clay is super hot here, and in the summertime, it's just hostile, right? All the cracks in the ground. I'll go over this clad quarter. I'm too low again. Crank it up to 89. Clad quarter, 6 inches deep right here. I'll go over this iron here, right? Get a lot of falsing on the iron with the Anfibio, but the targets just pop out really good. With the Simplex, the targets pop out really good too. I'll actually stick it in. I'll go over this iron here. I'll go over the dime at 3 inches deep, and this is really thick iron here, right? I have to have that. There's a coin right underneath that bottle cap right there, the plastic bottle cap. I have to have that target right over the center of my coil to hit it. I can move back on it. I'm just barely hitting it. I got to be right over it. See, there's not very much of a sweet spot on this coil here, but it does hit this coin really good, right? Now I'll go into 4-tone. It's hitting it good. I'll show you the 4-tone, what 4-tone sounds like in my soil here, right? 4-tone, 70 gain. Right? Just overload, or it's right on the verge of overloading at 70 gain because there's so much iron in my soil, a lot of minerals, right? But the evident targets pop out still with it. I'll go over this nickel up, 5 inches deep. See how clean that sounds? I can actually dial it back a little bit here. Go to like 50 gain, 54 gain. Try that. But when I'm in 54 gain, I'm losing a lot of recovery speed, right? Because the recovery speed is tied in with the gain, right? There's certain segments. I don't want to go into all the gain feature, how it affects your recovery speed. You can read on it if you want. Now I'll go over that clad quarter here at 6 inches deep. That was that nickel at 5 inches deep. This is that clad quarter at 6 inches deep. See, just a lot of clicking and popping, right? I'll go with this dime over here at 3 inches deep. A lot of iron pulses right here, right? A lot of mineralization in my soil, so I'm gonna get a lot of pulsing in the deeper programs, right? Have to swing really slow to hit this target, but it hits it really good. But see, if I was investigating all those other iron targets, because I'm in a deeper mode here, I wouldn't be, it would take me a long time to get to this coin, or it'd take me a long time to get that coin right there. I would spend a lot of time just rotating around junky targets, a bunch of nails, if I was in 4-tone, you know? And that's the only program that I can have the Anfibio in is 3-tone. So I'm very limited on the programs that I can use in my super hot soil here. You know, I just spend a lot of time investigating targets out that I'm not going to be digging up when I'm in 4-tone or 5-tone or 9-tone. I just haven't ran it much. It only took me a couple days to realize that the deeper programs like 4, 5, 99-tone and deep programs just do not perform in my soil. But 3-tone I've gotten to perform very well. You know, you just got to dial it in, you know. It's basically like a single program machine for me, you know, but there's a lot of options on the Anfibio that I can, you know, just work around that shortcoming of the hot soil, you know. And I'll just turn the Simplex on here, get the Anfibio away a little bit. One of them ground balance machine, right? Park 1, no ground balance, right? I'll go with that nickel at 5 inches deep, right? A lot of iron everywhere here, right? Definitely iron tones. I'm not getting any solid tones, right? Go to Park 2. It's hitting on a lot better in Park 2 because there's so much iron in the soil here, right? But it's a broken tone in Park 2. The nickels sound really scratchy, really broken tones in Park 2. So I'll go over this quarter here. The quarter at 6 inches deep, right? In Park 2. A lot of iron everywhere. This dime, 3 inches deep. Still hitting it big time, right? Now I'll go into field mode.
Exactly like my divider and the little baskets that I use in there. And
hitting it big time, right? The Simplex is obvious if there's a target down there. We'll go with this iron here. It's not falsing on too much iron here. Here's that quarter at 6 inches deep. I'll go over the nickel at 5 inches deep right here.
And then it's got a coffee table, so I can literally make this like a smoke.
It's a solid tone, right? It's a solid tone. The Anfibio just had an update, man. It'll be a lot better machine. Not much is going to happen with the Anfibio, though. I just have a feeling the Simplex can just do it, you know. The Simplex has had several updates. Why isn't the Anfibio getting an update? You know, they've been working on the Simplex and the newer machine, their newer multi-frequency machine. Well, thank you for watching. Please subscribe.